Time for another episode of Local Roots. Hi, I'm Todd Studer. Halloween has kind of turned into Halloween week, hasn't it? I know that a lot of trick-or-treating going on in downtown business areas, trunk-or-treats happening in different church parking lots, and all kinds of stuff going on. So please just be careful as you're traveling around. I had an opportunity to speak with a buddy of mine yesterday, and he's an insurance agent, and his recommendation was this time of year, just drive slower. You know, it's going to, could potentially save a life. You need to give yourself a little bit of extra time. There's a lot of deer running around now as the crops are coming out of the field. There's farmers out on the road. Yesterday, when I was traveling to Underwood, there was a farmer that was taking a couple of tanks of anhydrous, and he was traveling at 35 miles an hour. And these are the things that we need to be aware of as we are traveling. You know, it's not as if farmers have roads that they can just go on their own. They have to be out there with us, and we need to make sure that we are aware of that, and also that we give them plenty of space. They're busy right now this time of year and getting the crops out, and they're doing a great job, and it looks like a lot of the work is already done. But continue to just be safe as you're out there. Coming up today, we have a special guest, and the reason for that is across a very large selection of Southwest Iowa, there is a bond issue that is on your local elections. And here, I've got the card right here, so I thought that I would read it to you because I'm in this, and I will be voting on this. And this is coming up on the November 4th election. Shall the Board of Directors of the Iowa Western Community College in the counties of, and these are all the counties of where this is going to take place: Adair, Adams, Audubon, Cass, Crawford, Fremont, Harrison, Mills, Monona, Montgomery, Page, Pottawatomie, and Shelby. Again, these are all in the state of Iowa. And should the Iowa Western Community College be authorized to contract indebtedness to issue general obligation bonds in the amount not to exceed $55 million that will provide funds to defray the cost of any of one of the following purposes? Yeah, this is legal speak, but I'm doing my best. To construct, furnish, and equip a new career and technical education facility for automotive diesel mechanic, also commercial driver's license and logistics programming. To expand, improve, remodel, repair, furnish, and equip existing buildings for expanded programming, including HVAC, plumbing, welding, electrical, and construction technology for credit and non-credit programming. What all of that means is they are wanting to expand what they are able to provide in training in the trades. And there is a huge need for it around Southwest Iowa. So this, of course, would be a new building on the Iowa Western campus just outside of Council Bluffs, but also would include a lot of expansion in other remote locations, too, around Southwest Iowa. So to learn more about this, we should probably go to the source. And there is no better source to talk about it than Dr. Dan Kinney, the president from Iowa Western Community College. He is our guest today on Local Roots, so he'll be on in just a couple of moments. If you are looking to buy or sell your home in Council Bluffs, Blake Hunter is your trusted realtor with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. Blake knows the local market, and he is dedicated to finding the perfect place for you to call home. Whether you're a first-time buyer, upgrading, or if you're ready to sell, Blake's here to guide you every step of the way. Visit his website, blakehunter.homes, and start hunting for your dream home with confidence. If you need precision metal fabrication done right, look no further than Foxco Fabrication in Council Bluffs. That's Rick Graybill. Custom welding, large-scale manufacturing, bringing your ideas to life with expert craftsmanship and cutting-edge technology. Could be industrial, could be commercial, or just custom fabrication. They're going to get the job done on time and built to last. Go to foxcofab.com to learn more. Back with us again this morning, it is Dr. Dan Kinney from Iowa Western Community College. Been a while, sir. Glad to have you back.
Well, Todd, thank you. Excited to be back on. We're excited. A lot of great things happening here at Iowa Western Community College.
Top to bottom, that is exactly right. There's so many great things going on at Iowa Western. And what we wanted to talk to you about today is the bond issue that is on the ballot, because you have big plans. For a new facility that's really going to help in the trades.
Yeah, honestly, when I got here 5 years ago, the big push was really how do we grow our enrollment? What are we looking at? And things like that. So I got out to businesses and honestly community members. Hey, the need for diesel tech, auto, welding, HVAC, plumbing. I mean, I can keep going through it, nursing, all the way through those. We're high demand, high needs. So we really focus on working with our high schools of really helping get students into those tracks and then transferring on to us and going forward. And it's worked. It's worked very well, which now we've outgrown a lot of our lab space here at Iowa Western. So on November 4th, what we're doing is asking the voters to go out and approve us to really not new money, but continue some of our previous bonds forward. So this will not raise the property tax levy rate for any citizens. The percent that you pay to Iowa Western is going to stay the same. It is not going to increase at all to allow us to really update some of our facilities, build some new facilities, but not only in Council Bluffs, for all our rural communities out there. So we're excited about this bond as we continue to move forward.
The $55 million number that's attached to it looks kind of scary. I mean, let's just be honest. It does. But as you just said, it's not changing anything. It's just continuing what's already been in place.
Yeah. So what this will do is with the 55 million, one of the things that we've seen when I came here 5 years ago, we had, like 43 students in our diesel tech program. Today we're up in the 80, 85 to be exact. We had like 51 in auto mechanics. We're up to 84. You start looking at construction. We were at 39. Today we're sitting at 78. I mean, you see that those needs are up there. And those are high demands. Same, our plumbing program, we had just started when I got here. We started with 3 students. We're up in the mid high 20s right now. Unfortunately, like on HVAC and electrical, we stayed kind of flat because I just don't have any space to continue to add those type of individuals. And in welding, we've gone from 67 students up to 144. So we're putting the trades out there. The issue with Iowa Western right now is we just don't have the space to continue to expand those. So part of this bond is the 55 million will really be putting in a new transportation center for us. This will allow us to move our diesel tech and auto up into a new facility, double their space so I can double their enrollments down the road. In addition to that, a supply chain management, a new degree here that we're starting to hear from businesses. You kind of hear about the supply chain. You heard a lot about that. Well, we'll add that program here to help get the raw materials in, the raw materials out of Southwest Iowa, but even finished goods in and out of here. And then right now our CDL program is working on it's on a residential parking lot. 18-year-olds and truck drivers don't always mix real well. So we're doing that. This will allow us to do that. So the majority of this money will go for that new facility. But then we'll be able to take their existing facilities, our diesel and auto area, double the space in construction, HVAC, welding, all those type of programs. Then we'll be able to expand those programs to move forward, in regards to that. So that's the majority of it. It's giving the opportunity for our local students to stay at home in Southwest Iowa and hit some of these high demand jobs that we need. I mean, has anybody tried to get an HVAC plumber out or get your car fixed? I mean, I had my car in a few weeks ago, about a month ago now, and they said, yeah, it'll be at least 72 hours and then we'll figure out from there. So my car was in there for 5 days. Once I went and picked it up, I saw the owner and I said, hey, what's going on? He goes, you need to produce more auto mechanics. I said, gotcha, we're getting there. When it comes to it. Or, right now we're in the middle of harvest, a tractor or truck or something goes down. They need diesel techs out there. And then to support our local businesses, the ones that we currently have going, but even bringing new in. So this will allow us to do that.
There's so many things that this can affect. I mean, as you are moving forward with getting new students in and training them on how to be skilled laborers in the trades, and then moving on to eventually becoming business owners. One of the things that I am aware of is the average age of business owners in the trades is in the 50s. And that means a lot of these are 10 years away from retirement, and there's not enough coming in behind to be able to fill that. If that happens, everything starts to decline, not just inside of the trades, because we're not getting construction done on a lot of the other things for white collar jobs. It's all tied together.
The other day I was talking to some individuals that are in the HVAC area, and this is probably the most alarming statistic I heard. I said, I know you guys are short. And he looked at me, he says, yeah, but wait for 10 years. I said, what do you mean? He said, 3 retiring, you're producing 1 to support it. I'm like, whoa, I didn't even think about it. I know we're short right now, let alone if the retirements hit and things like that. And you're right. You know, a lot of these young people can go into business ownership, you know, get to work for these companies who are going to retire and they want to, you know, I want to retire and move on, but I can't because I don't have anybody backfilling me to even set up some of that succession planning out there. And it's just not in Council Bluffs. It's in rural Iowa too. Part of this bond is also, you know, one of the things that we've done well with is working with our high schools. We've seen about a 20% enrollment increase just from high school students coming in wanting these skilled trades. Well, you know, I've been able to do some work up in Missouri Valley, Harlan, East Mills, and down in Glenwood and here in Council Bluffs. I haven't been able to do that in Atlantic, down in Clarinda and Shenandoah. So we will also put some flexible training space into there to bring some of these high demand jobs for high school students to get involved in those communities down in that rural area. But not only for the high school students, what about adult learners who, you know, say, I want to switch, I want to go into some trade, I want to do something and looking to change. Well, they have to come to Council Bluffs now. I'll be able to do it in those rural communities as we move forward. So this is a win-win. I mean, I think the biggest things on this bond is no property tax levy rate, the ability to put the workforce, the demands that we're seeing out there that I hear on a daily basis, but more importantly, how can we keep our youth at home? This will allow us to expand our ability to work with our local high schools to put more of those students in those high demands. Students are wanting to stay closer at home. It used to be they were wanting to leave home. You know, I think after COVID, we've really seen that, you know, students want to stay at home. There's great jobs in their local community. They want to raise their family where they were raised. This will allow Iowa Western to continue to do that. And I'm not going to raise the property tax levy rate.
Is there a spot that's ready to go for construction? Do you have all of that mapped out?
Yeah. So when I got here 5 years ago, we did a lot of facilities planning. No one seeing some things where we can go. So the new facility will go up on the hill right along Highway 6. Right now, you can drive down Highway 6. You know, Iowa Western's here, but you never see a building. This will put one up there. So we've got 2 phases eventually that we can do down the road up there of additional new construction to phase into our campus system itself. So this will go up there. Honestly, both at Harlan and Clarinda and Atlantic, I'm going to convert some traditional classroom space into lab space. I need to bring additional electrical in because when you start running robotics, HVAC units, and things like that, you need a lot more electrical in the building. So we've got the space there. So I hope on November 5th, I can start turning some dirt up on the hill here, but start doing some deconstruction in some buildings because I want those. It'll be a couple years. I mean, it'll take about 18 months to build a new facility. But, you know, in Atlantic, Clarinda, and Shenandoah, we'll be able to hopefully have those up and going by, well, honestly, a year from now. In the fall of next year, we'll be able to have some programs in there that high school students can be coming into, but also adult learners can come into and get retrained or reskilled into skill sets that they want to do.
I think also the way that you are incorporating CDL training into that too, because that's more than just the giant semi that's sitting right behind you. There's so many construction companies and that need CDL licensed drivers to be able to move things around. And, you know, they're all hiring because everybody's short of drivers right now.
Well, yeah. And a lot of them are even taking existing employees and coming out here and putting them in our program. I mean, every time we run that class, it's at capacity. If it's in Council Bluffs, we run it in Atlantic, Harlan, you know, down in Shenandoah, we're doing them in Clarinda. They're at capacity. You're talking about construction, but what about farmers who need truck drivers at this time of the year to help get their grain to the markets and things like that? But yeah, we are, last year we ran about 50 students. Well, last 2 years since we started the CDL program, we've ran about 50 students through. Again, I need a larger training course so I can train more individuals to get them out there, not only for the over the road, but you're right, the construction that needed here, county workers, definitely the farmers. I mean, I hear a lot from farmers, but you know, the one that's really getting me, school bus drivers. How do we get our youth to school? So we bought a yellow bus. We do school bus training here too. And we've been hitting some individuals that are retired saying, you know, I would like to do that. I want a part-time job, things like that. So we've put quite a few school bus drivers into our school districts out there also.
Yeah, that's another one that you see all the time. The signs are up. We need more drivers. And that's something that for all those of us who are just driving by that sign, don't think about, but you can't put an untrained person behind the wheel of a,
No,
wheel of
no,
a
you
school
can't.
bus.
You can't. And that's the important thing, the safety that we have to train into those programs also.
There is also a lot of, I believe, growing knowledge about what it means to actually be in the trades now. That, because it used to be
Yep.
people just thought, okay, well, you're not going to achieve everything that you can, but that's not true,
No,
because you can make a lot of money working in
yeah.
the trades.
And you really seen it in the last number of years. I mean, the high wage jobs are in the trades. I mean, a number of years ago, a lot of students transferred on to get their bachelor's degrees. That's what happened. Today, we have a new student out there. We've got a third that, know what they want to do and where they're going. They're going to get their bachelor's. They're moving on to become doctors, attorneys, lawyers. Yes, we need those. You've got a new third out there that just has been just aren't engaged in education. And we've been able to re-engage them in high school into these trades. I mean, it's like, look, hey, you can come out and get a welding degree and go to work making, $60,000, $70,000 a year. Diesel tech, $80,000 to $90,000 a year, and things like that. And then you've got another third in there, and I call them the smart third, return on investment. If I come and I have to take loans out, or I pay for my education and I get this degree, what am I going to make? How long is it going to take me to go through schooling to get there and stuff like that? So, those are the ones. I mean, we've seen this semester, we're up 7.5% at Iowa Western, and that's unheard of across the nation with the low birth rates, less, smaller graduation classes and things like that. But we're seeing it, and it's all in our career technical fields. And that's why we need this additional space to continue to grow that, keep our youth at home, but fill these high demand, high wage jobs that we have in our region.
I think, too, from my vantage point, part of that is because of the level of excellence that Iowa Western is hitting all the way across the board, whether it be in the trades and in training there, or preparing students to move on to a four-year institution, or across the board in athletics and different things that are happening there. It's just one success after another happening.
Yeah, we've got a great faculty and staff here, and what they do for our students is amazing. I'll put them up against any four-year institution, two-year institution across the nation. We've got an amazing faculty and staff and administration that's really here to help our students get to their next goal, whatever that would be. If it's to transfer onto a university, or if it's to come here, get a two-year degree, and then out to the workforce, working with them. But we have a lot of excellence here. And honestly, here later this week, there's going to be some neat announcements coming out on some other things that Iowa Western's doing on some achievements across the nation. So kind of watch our social media. We've got some neat things happening here. And it's because of the amazing faculty and staff that we have here at Iowa Western Community College.
And you built an atmosphere too, just in the physical campus. It's very comfortable when you're out there, and you can tell it's forward thinking. And I think that attracts students from not just directly here, but you're bringing them in from other areas too.
Yeah, we stay on top of that. We work with our advisory boards. We don't just start degree programs to start degree programs. We hear what are the needs in our communities. And, there's going to be some new programs starting up here into the near future. And honestly, by passing that bond is going to help us with that one. But we're looking at some things in healthcare. How can we continue to expand our healthcare needs are out there? And as we abandon some space and move some things around, their space is going to open on this campus that we don't even think about right now to help expand those. We're looking at some new degree programs right now in the healthcare world. What can we do with healthcare to advance that? How do we put more CNAs, RNs, LPNs out there into our community? So, I know we kind of talk a little about the trades in regards to diesel, auto, HVAC, and all those. But there's a lot into there. And that's what Iowa Western's known for. And you're right. How do we plan for the future? And part of this is what we've done is really sat down and say, okay, what are the needs coming up into the future? Let's get to space right now. I mean, we're not going to fill these spaces next year, at 100% capacity, but it allows us some time to do that as we continue to expand. We send students away now, unfortunately, because we can't get them into our classrooms. I mean, how we've grown our diesel tech program is they've taken over other space, some storage space on campus. They're in a greenhouse. They're teaching some of their diesel tech in a greenhouse. It's just a space that we had, and it's not the best space for them to do that in.
Yeah, that's That's kind of surprising about the diesel mechanic going on in the greenhouse, but you're doing what you can. And you have to make those adaptations in order to get the students in there. And for something that isn't going to cost anyone any additional money, all it's going to take is just a yes vote when you go to the polls here. I think it's a wise move. And I think having a facility like this and expanded programs like this right here in Southwest Iowa, and as you said, not just for Council Bluffs where you're adjacent to, but all across the region, this is it's needed. And I can't think of a better reason to bring it and get it here.
Well, I appreciate that. And you're right. I mean, it's going to have the impact. I mean, our 8 main counties we serve, but we kind of go into other counties because of the way the school districts are set up. But yeah, it's going to impact every one of those. The ability us to do more with our high school students to kind of lead them to some of that training while they're in high school. And the nice thing is a lot of that dual credit they're doing because of supplemented weighted dollar in the state of Iowa, the families pay nothing. We get funding from the state, they get into there. And just the impact we've made on the high schools and helping to re-engage some of these students, it's been amazing. I mean, especially what we've done up in Missouri Valley, been able to do in Harlan, and that's why they're not included in this bond issue, because we've been able to do some things up there with other grant dollars and things like that. But we're just at the portion is I need this new, I mean, basically it's 86,000 square feet of additional training space on our campus that will expand those programs, but then allow us to expand other programs in their existing space, which is, right now our diesel tech is sitting in 11,000 square foot. They're going to go to 21,000 square foot, 10,000 more. And so you can see the impact that we're going to make, but we're going to take that 11,000, put our construction program into that they're coming from 4,500 square foot to 11,000 square foot. We're going to make an impact in Southwest Iowa.
That is coming up on November 4th, so look for it on your ballot when you head to the polls. We're trying to encourage as many people to get there as possible. You know how elections are on off years. Yep. When it's an odd year and it's not a national election, turnout's never as good. But we're hoping to get folks out there that see the value in this and I'd love to be able to see that new facility sitting right there along the highway, and it would add a lot to it, I think. Yeah.
It'll add a lot to our campus.
He is Dr. Dan Kinney, and he is the president of Iowa Western Community College. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Grateful as always, and let's get you back on a little bit sooner next time, huh?
Todd, sounds good. Thank you, and enjoy always talking about Iowa Western.
I've talked about it many times that I do not talk about politics. That's just not something that's on this show, but I don't look at this bond issue as politics. This is not something that is decided on along party lines by politicians. This isn't something that politicians have any more of a vote on than you do. This is decided by you directly to the taxpayers. And as Dr. Kinney said, it's not going to raise your taxes. This is just a continuation of bonds that are already out there. So I would encourage you to vote yes. That's my belief that this is the right thing to do. I think it's the right thing for Southwest Iowa. I think it's the right thing for the residents and especially the young people in Southwest Iowa to have a local place where they can go for training, to be able to learn how to do HVAC, to learn how to do plumbing, to learn how to have a CDL license, to be able to drive trucks at whatever level it needs to be. I believe this is necessary, and I would encourage you to vote yes on this bond issue. If you're in the market for stylish, locally curated fashion that's close to home, visit Unique Boutique Iowa. They're in Neola at 101 4th Street, your destination for trendy clothing, accessories, and distinctive gifts. It's all owned and styled by Jamie Bush, a Neola mom and former educator. Unique Boutique Iowa brings a homegrown passion for quality and community to every piece. She's open on the weekends, Saturdays 10 to 2, Sundays 11 to 3. Always available online at shopubiowa.com. You're going to find new arrivals, graphic tees, denim, and seasonal pieces perfect for every occasion. Unique Boutique Iowa. Distinctive styles, heartfelt service right in Neola. Thank you again, Dr. Dan Kinney, for taking some time. I know you're very busy and joining us on the show today. Very grateful for that. And we look forward to the next time that we get a chance to talk, and we'll cross our fingers that we'll be talking about construction of that new facility. My name's Todd Studer. Have a great Tuesday.